I watched Madison Carter cry in the break room yesterday, and for the first time in 8 months, I didn't feel satisfied about it. She was hunched over her phone, shoulders shaking, trying to hide her tears behind her long blonde hair that still looks exactly the same as it did in high school. The same hair she used to flip dismissively when she called me pizza face, in front of the entire cafeteria. The same hair that bounced when she laughed after dumping chocolate milk on my only good shirt during homecoming week. But yesterday, watching her fall apart over another failed project that I had quietly sabotaged, I felt something I didn't expect. Something that made my stomach twist in a way that had nothing to do with satisfaction, and everything to do with guilt. She looked up at me through her tears and said the words that have been haunting me for 3 days now. "Sarah, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Would you consider being my mentor? I really need someone to help me figure out how to succeed here." Sarah. That's what I go by now. Not the name she knew me by in high school. Not the name she used to spit out like it tasted bad whenever she had to acknowledge my existence. I've been Sarah Chun for almost 10 years now. Ever since I legally changed my name after college. Madison has no idea that the successful marketing director she's been trying so desperately to impress is actually the same girl she spent 4 years tormenting. And I've been using that anonymity to destroy her career piece by piece, methodically and carefully, for 8 months. Let me start from the beginning, because this story doesn't make sense without understanding what Madison Carter did to me in high school. What she took from me. What she broke in me that I'm still trying to fix 15 years later. Back then, I was Amy Jo. Awkward, chubby Amy Jo with terrible acne and thick glasses and clothes from the discount store that never quite fit right. I was the kid who ate lunch alone, who got picked last for everything, who tried to make myself invisible in the hallways because being invisible was safer than being noticed. Madison was everything I wasn't. Popular, beautiful, confident, cruel. She was the kind of girl who ruled high school through a combination of charisma and calculated meanness. She could make or break your social standing with a single comment, and she seemed to take genuine pleasure in breaking people who were already broken. For reasons I still don't understand, she chose me as her favorite target. It started small. Comments about my appearance, my clothes, the way I talked too quietly in class. She'd make jokes about my acne that would make the whole class laugh. She'd accidentally bump into me in the hallways hard enough to send my books flying. She'd wrinkle her nose when she had to sit near me, like I smelled bad or something. But it got worse. So much worse. Junior year, I finally worked up the courage to audition for the school play. I had been taking drama classes because I loved acting, loved the way I could become someone else for a few hours. Someone confident and interesting and worth listening to. The drama teacher, Mrs. Rodriguez, encouraged me to try out for the lead role in our production of Our Town. She said I had real talent, that I understood the character better than anyone else in the class. I practiced for weeks. I memorized every line, studied every scene, poured my heart into that audition because it felt like my one chance to be something other than invisible Amy Jo. For the first time in my life, I thought I might actually be good at something that mattered. I got the part. For about 3 days, I was Emily Webb, the female lead in Our Town. For 3 days, I walked through the hallways with my head up, feeling like maybe I could be more than just the weird girl everyone ignored. I started imagining how it would feel to stand on that stage in front of hundreds of people, to have them see me as someone worth watching. Then Madison found out. She launched a campaign against me that was so systematic and vicious that even now, 15 years later, I can't think about it without feeling sick. She spread rumors that I had only gotten the part because Mrs. Rodriguez felt sorry for me. She convinced half the cast that I was going to ruin the play for everyone. She started a petition to have me removed from the role, claiming I wasn't right for the character, and that my performance would embarrass the school. But the worst part, the part that still wakes me up at night sometimes, was what she did during the first full rehearsal. I was on stage, running through Emily's big monologue in Act 3. The scene where Emily comes back from the dead and realizes how precious and fleeting life is. It's a beautiful, heartbreaking scene, and I was giving everything I had to it. I could feel the emotion building, could feel myself disappearing into the character the way I had always dreamed of doing. Madison was sitting in the audience with a group of her friends, supposedly there to support the production. Right in the middle of my monologue, at the most emotional part, she started laughing. Not subtle giggling, but loud, mocking laughter that echoed through the whole auditorium. "Oh my God," she said loud enough for everyone to hear. "This is so embarrassing. She's trying so hard to be deep and meaningful, but she just looks ridiculous. Like, who told her she could act? This is painful to watch." Her friends joined in, and soon half the auditorium was laughing at me. Not with me, at my performance, at my dreams, at my pathetic attempt to be something I wasn't. I froze on stage. Completely froze. All the words I had memorized disappeared from my brain. All the confidence I had been building crumbled in an instant. I stood there in the spotlight, exposed and humiliated, while Madison and her friends laughed like they were watching the funniest comedy they had ever seen. I ran off the stage crying and never came back. Mrs. Rodriguez tried to convince me to stay in the play. She said Madison's behavior was unacceptable, that she would handle it, that I shouldn't let one person's cruelty steal something I loved. But the damage was done. Every time I tried to run through my lines, I could hear Madison's laughter. Every time I stepped on that stage, I felt like a fraud, like someone pretending to be something she could never be. I quit the play. Madison's best friend Jessica got the part instead, and they all acted like it was some kind of victory they had won together. That wasn't the end of it, though. Madison seemed energized by what she had done to me. Like destroying my one moment of potential success had given her a taste for cruelty that she couldn't satisfy. The bullying got worse after that. More public, more humiliating, more designed to make me feel like I didn't deserve to exist in the same space as her. She started calling me drama queen mockingly, referencing my failed acting attempt. She'd make fake crying faces when she saw me in the hallways. She convinced people that I had quit the play because I couldn't handle the pressure, that I was too weak and pathetic to follow through on anything important. Senior year was hell. She made sure I couldn't join any clubs or activities without facing harassment. She turned group projects into opportunities to exclude and humiliate me. She made comments about my appearance, my family, my future that were so cutting and specific that I started skipping school just to avoid her. I graduated high school feeling like I was fundamentally broken, like there was something wrong with me that made me deserve the treatment I had received. I went to college across the country partly to get away from Madison and people like her, but mostly to get away from the version of myself that had been so easily destroyed. College changed everything for me. I lost weight, my skin cleared up, I learned how to dress and carry myself with confidence. I discovered I was actually good at marketing and business strategy, that I had a talent for understanding what people wanted and how to give it to them. I made friends, dated, even did some acting in community theater where no one knew my history or my fears. By the time I graduated, I wasn't Amy Jo anymore. I was Sarah Chen, and Sarah Chen was everything Amy Jo had never been allowed to be. Confident, successful, respected, strong. I got my first job at a small marketing firm in Chicago, and worked my way up quickly. I was good at what I did, really good, and for the first time in my life, people listened when I spoke. They valued my opinions, trusted my judgment, came to me for advice and leadership.
8 years after college, I was recruited for a senior marketing director position at Peterson & Associates, one of the top marketing firms in the city. It was my dream job, great salary, amazing benefits, the kind of position that would set me up for the rest of my career. I started on a Monday in September, excited and nervous and ready to prove myself in my new role. I spent my first week meeting with different teams, learning about ongoing projects, getting familiar with the company culture and expectations. On Friday afternoon, my boss told me they had hired a new junior marketing coordinator who would be joining my team the following week. Someone fresh out of graduate school, eager and ambitious, looking to learn from experienced professionals. Her name is Madison Carter, he said, handing me her resume. She comes highly recommended from her internship at Goldman. I think she'll be a great addition to your team. I stared at that resume for a full minute, reading the name over and over again, trying to convince myself it was a coincidence. There had to be dozens of Madison Carters in the world, maybe hundreds. It couldn't possibly be the same Madison Carter who had made my teenage years a living nightmare. But when she walked into the office the following Monday, I knew immediately that the universe had just handed me the most perfect revenge opportunity one could have ever imagined. She looked almost exactly the same. A little older, more professionally dressed, but still the same confident stride, the same dismissive expression, the same way of looking around a room like she was evaluating whether the people in it were worth her time. She introduced herself to the team with the same charming smile that had fooled teachers and parents and administrators for years, the smile that had hidden the cruelty underneath. And she had no idea who I was. Why would she? I looked completely different. I had a different name, a different body, a different way of carrying myself. To Madison, I was just Sarah-chan, her new boss, someone she needed to impress and win over. The pathetic, broken Amy Jo she had tormented was invisible to her, erased by time and transformation. For the first few weeks, I told myself I was just going to do my job professionally. I would treat Madison like any other employee, judge her on her work and her performance, maybe even help her succeed if she proved herself worthy. I was a different person now, a better person. I didn't need revenge against some high school bully, who probably didn't even remember what she had done to me. But then I started noticing things. Little things that brought back all the old feelings, all the old pain. The way she talked over people in meetings, especially the quieter team members who reminded me of my teenage self. The way she took credit for other people's ideas, and then acted surprised when they called her out on it. The way she made subtle comments about appearance and presentation that were just cutting enough to hurt, but not obvious enough to get her in trouble. She was still the same person. Older, more sophisticated, better at hiding it, but fundamentally the same person who had delighted in making me feel worthless 15 years ago. So I started small. Nothing dramatic, nothing that could be traced back to me directly. I just began creating obstacles for her success in ways that looked like bad luck or poor timing. I assigned her to projects that were already behind schedule or had impossible deadlines. I paired her with difficult clients who had a history of being unsatisfied with everything. When she came to me with ideas or proposals, I would find subtle ways to redirect them to other team members or suggest changes that would water down her contributions. First, it felt incredible. Every small frustration I created for her felt like justice, like the universe finally balancing the scales. When she struggled to meet an unrealistic deadline I had given her, I thought about all the time she had made me struggle in high school. When a client rejected her proposal because I had quietly warned them about potential issues, I remembered how she had rejected my right to exist in the same social space as her. But Madison was actually good at her job. Frustratingly good. Even with the obstacles I was creating, she found ways to succeed. She worked longer hours, came up with creative solutions, charmed difficult clients with the same charisma that had made her popular in high school. She was resilient in ways that impressed me even as it annoyed me. So I escalated. I started being more direct about undermining her work. I would schedule important meetings when she was out of the office, then act like it was an oversight. I would give her incomplete information about projects, and then express disappointment when she missed key details. I would reassign her best ideas to other team members and present it as a collaborative decision. The worst thing I did was sabotage her presentation to our biggest client. She had been working on a campaign proposal for months, staying late every night, researching everything she could about their brand and their market. It was actually brilliant work, the kind of creative strategic thinking that could have launched her career. The night before her presentation, I went into the shared drive and corrupted her files. Not obviously, not in a way that would point to intentional sabotage, but enough to make her slides unreadable and her backup files unusable. She discovered it an hour before the meeting. I watched her panic, watched her frantically try to recreate her presentation from memory and notes, watched her confidence crumble the same way mine had crumbled on that stage 15 years ago. She gave a rambling, disorganized presentation that impressed no one. The client went with a different firm. Madison looked humiliated and defeated in a way that should have felt satisfying, but instead made my stomach twist with something I didn't want to examine too closely. After the meeting, she came to my office with tears in her eyes. "Sarah, I don't understand what happened," she said. I've triple-checked my computer for viruses, I've called IT, I've gone through every possible explanation. Those files were perfect yesterday, I swear they were. I don't know how everything got corrupted overnight. I looked at her standing there, vulnerable and confused and asking me for help, and for a moment I saw something I hadn't expected to see. I saw the same lost, desperate expression I used to see in my own mirror during high school. The expression of someone who was trying their best, but couldn't understand why everything kept going wrong. These things happen, I told her, keeping my voice neutral. Technology can be unpredictable. The important thing is learning from the experience and moving forward. But that night I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about the look on her face, the genuine confusion and distress. She really had no idea why her career kept hitting roadblocks. She was working twice as hard as everyone else and getting half the results, and she couldn't figure out what she was doing wrong. It was exactly how I had felt in high school. Exactly. Over the next few months, I continued my campaign against her, but each success felt less satisfying than the last. When she missed out on a promotion because I had quietly recommended someone else, I felt guilty instead of vindicated. When she got assigned to our most difficult client because I had suggested she needed more challenging projects, I felt sick watching her stress levels skyrocket. The worst part was that she kept trying to connect with me. She would ask for advice, invite me for coffee, compliment my work and leadership style. She seemed to genuinely respect me and want to learn from me, which made everything I was doing feel even more twisted and wrong. 3 months ago, she started staying late every night, working on a personal project that she hoped would impress upper management. I used my access to her computer to monitor her progress, planning to find a way to undermine it when the time was right. But as I read through her work, I realized she was creating a mentorship program for junior employees, specifically focused on helping people who felt lost or struggling in their careers. She had put together detailed plans for pairing experienced employees with newcomers, creating safe spaces for professional development, and building a more supportive company culture. In her project notes, she had written, "I know what it feels like to be struggling and not know why. I want to make sure no one else has to go through that alone." Reading those words felt like getting punched in the chest. This was Madison Carter, the girl who had made me feel more alone than I had ever felt in my life, talking about making sure no one else felt that way. Either she had changed completely, or I had never really known who she was underneath the high school cruelty. That's when I started questioning everything I had been doing. Was I getting revenge against the person Madison used to be, or was I becoming the person she used to be? Was I the bully now? Yesterday, when she asked me to be her mentor, I realized I had created the perfect trap for myself. She trusts me. She looks up to me. She wants my guidance and support. And I have been systematically destroying her career, while she desperately tries to figure out what she's doing wrong. I am exactly what she was in high school. I am the person with power using it to hurt someone who can't fight back. I am the person who takes pleasure in watching someone else struggle and fail. The realization has been eating at me for 3 days now. I keep thinking about that moment on the stage when her laughter broke something inside me, when I realized that some people would always see me as less than, as someone whose dreams were worth mocking. I swore I would never let anyone make me feel that way again. But somewhere along the way, I became the person who makes other people feel that way instead. Madison still doesn't know who I am. She has no idea that her mentor request came from the girl she used to call Drama Queen, the girl whose one moment of potential glory she destroyed with her laughter. She doesn't know that every professional setback she's experienced in the past 8 months has been carefully orchestrated by someone who has been carrying a 15-year-old grudge. Maybe she doesn't remember what she did to me. Maybe high school cruelty that shaped my entire self-image was just a footnote in her teenage years, something she did without thinking and forgot immediately afterward. Maybe the person I've been getting revenge against doesn't even exist anymore. Or maybe she remembers everything and has spent 15 years feeling guilty about it, trying to become a better person, trying to make up for the hurt she caused. Maybe her mentorship program isn't just about helping struggling employees. Maybe it's about trying to atone for the struggling teenager she once tormented. I don't know. I honestly don't know anything anymore except that I have to make a choice. I can tell her the truth. I can reveal who I am and explain what I've been doing and why. I can give her the chance to apologize, to make amends, to understand the consequences of her actions. But that conversation would destroy both of our careers and probably accomplish nothing except making us both feel worse. I can continue what I've been doing. I can keep sabotaging her work and undermining her confidence until she quits or gets fired. I can complete my revenge and move on with my life, knowing that I finally got justice for what she did to me. But I'm not sure I can live with who that makes me. Or I can stop. I can actually become her mentor, help her succeed, guide her career in the same way I wish someone had guided mine when I was struggling and lost and didn't understand why everything kept going wrong. I can be the person I needed when I was Amy Jo, frightened and broken and convinced I would never be worth anything. But that would mean letting go of 15 years of anger. It would mean forgiving someone who never asked for forgiveness, who doesn't even know she needs it. It would mean choosing to be better than she was, even though she never chose to be better for me. I'm sitting in my office right now, looking at Madison's mentorship program proposal on my desk. It's due to upper management tomorrow, and she has no idea that I have the power to make sure it never sees the light of day. One corrupted file, one missed deadline, one small technical glitch, and months of her work disappears. Or I can recommend it. I can champion her idea, help her present it to the executives, give her the professional success she's been working so hard to achieve. I can use my position to lift her up instead of tear her down. The choice feels impossibly huge and impossibly small at the same time. 15 years of pain and anger and carefully nursed resentment, balanced against the simple act of choosing kindness over cruelty. I keep thinking about that stage, about the moment when her laughter broke me. But I'm also thinking about yesterday in the break room, about the moment when I realized I had become the person holding the power to break someone else. Maybe revenge isn't about making the other person pay. Maybe it's about proving that you're better than they were. Maybe the best revenge against someone who tried to make you small is becoming someone who makes other people feel big. I don't know what I'm going to do tomorrow when Madison asks me about her proposal. I don't know if I'm strong enough to choose forgiveness over justice, or if I'm brave enough to let go of the anger that has been driving me for so long. All I know is that Amy Jo, the broken girl from high school, deserved better than what she got. And Madison Carter, the struggling woman in my office, deserves better than what I've been giving her. Maybe it's time to break the cycle. Maybe it's time to be the person I needed 15 years ago, instead of the person who hurt me. Maybe it's time to stop being afraid of my own kindness. Tomorrow I'll find out what kind of person I really am.